thank you for joining us.
On tonight's programme, a man appears in court charged with the murder of killer Ian Huntley after he was allegedly attacked in a County Durham prison.
Refugees from the region plead with Parliament over changes they say will leave them in limbo for years.
Newcastle's night is ruined by a last-minute blow from Barcelona.
And the boats built in a backyard that took a Northumberland man around the world in a record-breaking feat. First tonight, a man has appeared in court charged with murder after the death of the infamous killer Ian Huntley.
Huntley was serving a life sentence at HMP Frankland for the murders of 10-year-olds Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman in 2002. He died on Saturday after he was allegedly attacked last month.
Our correspondent Greg Easteel was at the hearing today at Newton Aycliffe Magistrates Court.
His crimes remain some of the most notorious, some of the most distressing in modern British criminal history. The school caretaker who abducted two 10-year-old classmates on a sunny weekend in Suffolk in 2002 and murdered them both. Hiding in plain sight, Ian Huntley even joined the hunt for Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman when he already knew exactly what had happened to them. Sentenced to 40 years in prison, the 52-year-old died at the weekend in hospital after being allegedly attacked behind the high-security walls of Durham's Frankland prison. And today, this small magistrates' court a few miles away found itself forming the latest thread in the dark fabric of Ian Huntley's story as his alleged killer appeared charged with his murder. There was no glimpse of Anthony Russell arriving at court though, as he appeared instead from prison via a video link. The hearing itself here lasted just a few minutes. Russell spoke briefly, first to confirm his name and his date of birth as the 16th of April 1982. He was told he faces a single charge, the alleged murder of Ian Huntley. He confirmed he understood that, and the case was immediately transferred to Newcastle Crown Courts, where he'll appear tomorrow. As the case now proceeds through the courts, no details have yet been confirmed of when or where Ian Huntley's funeral will take place. Well, Ian Huntley's crimes were notoriously high profile, and so it's inevitable that this case involving his alleged murder will also be high profile. But the Crown Prosecution Service has already moved to urge people not to engage in speculation or commentary, especially online, for fear of prejudicing these proceedings as they make their way through the courts. On a separate matter, with regard to Ian Huntley's funeral, there has been some reported suggestion that the public purse might be called upon to the level of around £3,000 to contribute to that, as does happen under current regulations for some inmates who die in prison. But the Justice Minister, Sarah Sackman, has already moved to quash that suggestion, saying that the government and the public is not spending £3,000.
Greg Easteel reporting for us there at Newton Aycliffe.
A man seeking asylum on Teesside has described the government's plans to make migrants wait longer before they can settle permanently in the UK as a nightmare.
He was part of a group of refugees and asylum seekers from our region who went to make their point at Parliament today.
Our political correspondent Tom Sheldrick is there. Tom, can you take us through what this is all about?
Julie, this is about what's called indefinite leave to remain, which gives you the right to live, work and study in the UK for as long as you want. Currently, refugees can apply for that settled status after 5 years here, but now the government proposing they're going to have to wait for up to 20 years. A group of refugees and asylum seekers from the North East came to Parliament today to speak to MPs about why they opposed these plans. They included Anas, who left Syria due to the civil war there. He's been in the UK for 18 months. He lives in Stockton and is seeking asylum. He says the plans have left him uncertain.
That nightmare that not help us to involve and to involve our society, our life, for just for waiting, I think is not fair.
I also spoke to Miranda, who has been granted asylum herself and runs a refugee group in Gateshead. She told me why she fears these changes.
It just presents a risk that all the life and everything that we've built here could be just ripped apart. And not just that, it just means that we just don't have safety as well. So I'm here with a group of people to just raise our concerns about it and just stand up against it as well.
Now, ministers are expected to make a final decision on what they'll do soon, but today the Home Office told us without action, some 350,000 low-skilled workers and their dependents will qualify for settlement, gaining access to benefits, free healthcare and social housing, costing taxpayers £10 billion. They say it's a privilege, not a right, to settle in the UK, and it must be earned, rewarding contribution and those who play by the rules. A significant number of Labour MPs have spoken out against or are quietly concerned about these proposals, but it seems the government are determined to press on to try to bring down the levels of both legal and illegal migration.
Tom in Westminster, thank you for taking us through that. And the ITV Evening News continues at 6:30 with the latest in the scandal surrounding former Hartlepool MP Peter Mandelson.
Coming up on the programme, the first set of documents relating to the appointment of Lord Mandelson as US ambassador are released. We will have the very latest. Commercial ships are damaged in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran calls the vessels legitimate targets. And the actor Warwick Davis receives an OBE from Prince William. Well, do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Now, a small wearable device will be the focus of one of the biggest clinical trials of its kind, and it could revolutionise the treatment of sleep apnea.
It's thought millions have this sleep disorder, which is currently treated with a mask worn at night time.
Well, one of our former colleagues and presenters here at ITV is among those trying to raise awareness of the condition after his own diagnosis. Lauren Hall reports.
Hello Duncan, welcome to the programme.
As a former presenter here on ITV Tyne Tees, Duncan Wood is a familiar face to many. But this isn't how we used to seeing him.
Basically, I was a very loud snorer, and I also gasped for breath at night and then start breathing again, so that was a problem.
He's got a sleep disorder that causes his airways to close up when he drifts off. It's thought to affect millions of people in the UK, and this is how it's treated.
I stopped breathing 80 times an hour. Now, that's severe obstructive sleep apnea. So once I was shown the graph on the computer in the hospital, they offered me straight away a CPAP machine, a continuous positive airways pressure machine, which comes with the CPAP mask, and I wear that every night of my life now.
CPAP machines keep the airways open and are very effective at treating sleep apnea.
Tell me a little bit about what's going on with your sleep.
The problem is more than half of patients stop using them within a year.
The trouble is, it's a big device. It's a bit ugly. Some people don't think they want to wear it during the night, and when they do wear it, sometimes it can cause dryness or irritation, or people can feel claustrophobic. And if the mask isn't fitted correctly, it can cause leakage, which means it's not really doing the job you need it to.
We're going to have here an ultrasound probe, and with that we can look at your upper airway muscle.
Sleep apnea not only makes patients feel tired, they have a higher risk of strokes and heart disease.
Stick the tongue out for me slowly.
That's why it's so important to treat it.
Relax. The evidence for CPAP therapy is very good. So this should be the first line treatment. But if that fails, and in many patients it does just not continue to be used, then we need alternatives.
Could this be the answer? The Zeus sleep device uses electrical stimulation to prevent airways collapsing when patients are asleep. It's about to go through a major clinical trial, and initial results look promising.
From the first moment I put it on, it had a massive impact on reducing the amount that I snore and the volume that I snore at. So much so that my wife actually had to check on me, which she's not done for years. Normally I get an elbow in the back rather than checked on out of concern. So it's been an absolute game changer.
Eventually, it could be for many others too.
So that fits well.
Until then, Duncan's sticking with the traditional CPAP mask, and on social media, it's earned him a new nickname. Lauren Hall, ITV News.
You're watching ITV News Tyne Tees. Still to come on tonight's programme.
Is this the town of culture for 2028? We profile Knaresborough, one of several places in our region vying for the prize.
And low pressure will be dominating for the rest of this week. Some very unsettled weather ahead. Find out what impacts we'll see across our part of the world in the forecast.
Next tonight, babies and toddlers may be missing out on swimming lessons because of a shortage of teachers.
Experts say the early introduction of youngsters to the water helps to build confidence and develop a vital skill. But organisations that run the classes say they are struggling to meet demand, as Kevin Ashford reports.
Taking the plunge at an early age, these toddlers are having swimming lessons aimed at the very youngest.
It's a nice activity for us to do and also a really good life skill to have. I didn't have swimming lessons when I was a child, so I thought it'd be good as soon as they could bring them and start learning.
Well done, Anna! I want them to be happy swimming, and I think it's such a good skill. I just want them to be safe, and I think if they're confident, they'll be safer. I want to safely know how to handle a little person in the water. When we go on holiday or other pools, I can practice what I've learned here and know that she's swimming and I'm supporting her.
This teaching session is taking place in Berkeley Community Pool near Gateshead. Staff here say demand for swimming lessons for little ones is continuing to grow.
There isn't really another kind of parent-toddler class quite like swimming lessons. Not only is it increasing kind of your baby's development, but it's also really good for parents' mental health as well. Swimming is one of the key sports for mental health and pushing people to kind of get back into activities, especially after you've just had a baby.
However, a survey by the Swimming Teachers Association has revealed that the biggest concern for more than half of swimming schools is a shortage of qualified baby and preschool swimming teachers. It comes as more than 3/4 of swimming centres are reporting a rise in demand for baby and toddler lessons, especially at weekends.
It means that classes aren't going to be available, which could lead to pools shutting down. It can lead to less opportunities of children learning to swim at an early age, which then has an impact as they grow up and actually accessing those swimming lessons at later life. And, you know, those fundamental movement skills that we're developing within baby and preschool lessons, where's the opportunity for that?
The association is appealing for more people to consider becoming a swimming teacher for babies and toddlers, to teach a skill that could be fun and may one day prove to be a lifesaver. Kevin Ashford, ITV News.
Moving on to sport now, and Newcastle United's Champions League hopes live on despite a painful sting in the tail.
Powering local sport in the community, Octopus Energy sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
It was a devastating and deflating final moment, wasn't it, at St James's Park last night? But Newcastle United will head for Barcelona next week, Simon, knowing anything's possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the ending was a gut punch, wasn't it? But Newcastle were the better team, and that's got to give them real hope for the second leg. Remember the two-legged cliche, it's only half-time. And this Champions League last 16 tie is level at 1-1. But that doesn't feel entirely fair. The cruelest of endings to the biggest of nights. The last kick of the game took away the win that Newcastle United worked so hard for. But it's important to remember it wasn't an ending at all. This tie is just getting started. So let's go back to the start when the half-and-half scarves were blowing in the breeze and the Barcelona fans were in fine voice. The Newcastle United fans created an atmosphere fit for the biggest of games, and their team gave them the biggest of performances in difficult circumstances. Eddie Howe was robbed of important players through illness and injury, but he cut his cloth accordingly and his team gave him everything. Barcelona are a beautiful game sort of team, but the Magpies didn't let them play their beautiful game. Newcastle dominated, Barcelona merely flickered. But when a post was struck and a goal was ruled out for offside, it looked like stalemate. Then it happened. Harvey Barnes scored with time running out, the roof came off, and Newcastle United were about to beat Barcelona. But time didn't run out quickly enough. Yes, it was added time on top of added time, but yes, it was a penalty. Barca superstar Lamine Yamal was always going to score, and yes, it actually was the last kick of the game.
A really good performance from the team, very, very good. Great to see us finally score, and then, yeah, I mean, the last attack of the game, last kick of the game, that's a tough one to take.
Tell me how you felt at the end.
Gutted. Absolutely gutted.
Deflated. But saying that, where we've been over the past 5-6 years, where we are now, no complaints, we're fantastic.
I mean, it was a clear foul, but, I mean, see what we can do in the second leg.
How important is it, kind of, that the team believes they can go to the new camp and win?
No, we do. You know, it's a little setback tonight, but we've had a lot of setbacks over the last few seasons, and we've always bounced back so well from them. So many positives to take from tonight. We almost can't let that one little moment knock us back, and it won't. And why not? Yeah, why not?
Can you see them going and doing it next week?
Absolutely. There's nothing to fear there. Nothing at all. Absolutely nothing.
I thought we had to win this, but Barcelona were distinctly unimpressive, I thought. I think we've got every chance against them.
It would just be a bit hard away because, you know, their fans will be all over us and putting us under pressure. But I think we're all over them today, and I think we would hammer them next week.
Newcastle deserve to win, and any win over Barcelona gets its own page in the history books. That's why it was so frustrating. But even if they had won, there'd still be a second leg to come. It's a setback, but this is the knockout stages of the Champions League, and nobody ever said it was going to be easy.
And it won't be that. There's lots you can say about the ending last night, but what's done is done. Next week in Barcelona now is all that matters. It comes down to that one match. Newcastle can go there and do the job. How difficult will it be?
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's going to be very difficult. Not all home advantage is created equal, but Barcelona's home advantage is big. You're not just playing the team and the fans, you're playing their history. They've won every game they've played at home in the Spanish League this season. They've actually returned to their iconic Nou Camp stadium recently after 2 years away, and it is an absolute fortress. But remember how well Newcastle played last night, and note that in tactical terms, the Magpies' strengths do seem to play on Barcelona's weaknesses, and you start to realise this tie is absolutely still there to be won.
It really is. It really is.
Well, Middlesbrough's championship promotion push continues. The excitement levels are going up. The number of games left is counting down. Several of their rivals at the top of the table picked up points last night, but Borough remains second and will hope to strengthen their hold on an automatic place this evening when they host struggling Charlton Athletic at the Riverside.
Next game now, Charlton is the most important game we play for the season, as the next game after that will be. That's how we need to think and work. So it's a big time of the season. Of course, we're getting to the finish line. It's just 10 games left from 46. That's makes it even more exciting.
Thank you, Simon. Good luck to Borough tonight. Now to an amazing journey that began in a shed in Northumberland, and it ended 28,000 miles later.
Yes, Adam Waff from Morpeth trusted his boat building skills enough to board his yacht and sail solo around the world, breaking records and raising tens of thousands of pounds in the process.
I spoke to him a little earlier as he joined us from the boat in Antigua, and I started by asking him how it felt to cross the finish line.
It was I have to say, probably the most incredible feeling of my life. I thought it would take a few hours or days or perhaps even weeks for it to sink in, but seeing the Antiguan hills, finally crossing the finish line, it was very emotional for me and a very, very exciting moment. So absolutely tremendous.
We'll talk about the challenges in a moment, but let's talk about your motivation. What kept you going?
Well, I had some very, very low moments. There was twice during the race that I considered retiring. I became involved with the Ella Dawson Foundation and the Dawson family shortly before the beginning of this race, and it was a really binary relationship because I've helped raise some money for them, but knowing that I was supporting the Ella Dawson Foundation and lots of people were going to benefit from the money that I raised was an incredible help to me to keep going through the dark moments.
Ella was a Newcastle University student, wasn't she, who died with cancer. I'm sure she was very much in your mind even before the start line. I want to take you right back to, you built the boat. You're aboard it now. You've called it Little Wren, I gather, because there was a little wren in your shed when you were building the boat. What skills did you have to build a boat?
Well, I was a reasonable DIYer, but I never tackled anything quite as big as this. So the boat came in 24 sheets of marine ply and lots of odd-shaped pieces of timber. It took me 1.5 years to build it. I took my time, but I was very thorough.
It served you so well. You've talked about the difficult times, the low times, your motivation. Share with us some of the highlights.
Well, we stopped at some amazing islands in the South Pacific and in the Indian Ocean. Pictures that you would only see in magazines, I guess. But for me, the highlight was the wildlife. I saw a significant amount of whale activity, particularly in the Indian Ocean. I had a very, very close encounter with a killer whale with an orca in the Pacific that came touching distance between me and the boat, and then circled the boat for about 15 or 20 minutes before departing. So that was very, very exciting.
I bet you were pleased to see the back of that. I hear entries are open for next year already. Where are you and Little Wren heading next, very briefly?
Well, we are. I'm taking the boat back to the UK. I'm not going to do this race again. My family wouldn't allow me, and I've done it now. So the boat will be for sale, and hopefully somebody else can have as much fun as I have.
What an adventure, Adam! It's great to talk to you. Fair winds, calm seas, safe home.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Yeah, what an adventure! What an incredible journey.
Some story.
I'm impressed. Now, the North East has some amazing areas to shout about, we all know that, and a new competition is giving us the chance to highlight some of those places.
Yes, the government has launched its search to find the UK's first town of culture. From Berwick to Bishop Auckland, Hexham to Scarborough, several of our region's towns are hoping to go for glory.
First up, throwing their medieval hat in the ring, is Knaresborough in North Yorkshire. Amy Sutton has been to meet some of the townsfolk who are trying to take the crown.
Oh, yeah! From monks to murderers, soothsayers to civil engineers, Knaresborough has something to shout about.
Townsfolk of Knaresborough and visitors to our town, welcome to Knaresborough, future town of culture.
It's a town for all seasons. There is always something happening. We have history and heritage in abundance.
There is a lot of community here and we're all very excited.
I mean, I can just imagine the buzz. I can just imagine the excitement. Knaresborough's a medieval town. It's got medieval bones, but it's got so much more to it than that.
Knaresborough has been around since the 1st century AD. The first Maundy money was handed out here by King John in 1210. Its market has been held on a Wednesday since at least 1310. The famous prophetess and witch Mother Shipton was born in a cave by the River Nid in 1488. Civil war and siege saw the destruction of the castle in 1644, and the Great Knaresborough Bed Race began in 1966. Hang on, what?
It's our identity. Knaresborough is known for the bed race and all the fun it brings with it.
It's morphed into this massive event which shuts down the town.
Okay, quirky town tradition, check. The writing's on the wall. You needn't wander far to spot something special. A town awash with colour, artsy architecture and a window into the past. It's embedded in the town.
It's just integrating art into their daily lives and something that they can really cherish. And this would give us that impetus and that energy to really reinvigorate the town and bring more people in to help make culture happen.
The figures of Knaresborough's history sit and watch the time go by. They're a cast of characters, aren't they?
I think Knaresborough's ready for an influx of people. You know, you can hear the birds tweeting now in the trees. It's very quiet and peaceful here. But it could also be filled with a lot more visitors to the town.
It's not just picture perfect. It's a reflection of what this town has to offer. Amy Sutton, ITV News, in Knaresborough.
Knaresborough, such a beautiful place to visit. Has to be a contender.
Strong one.
Or strong competition from other towns in the region though as well.
Looks even better in the sunshine.
Well,
Will there be any?
Here's Joe.
A breezy morning will be followed up with a flurry of fresh delights for lunch. TUI sponsors ITV Tyne weather.
Hello, a very good evening to you. Be prepared for a rather wet and windy spell of weather tomorrow. Very strong winds picking up by the time we get to tomorrow morning will be accompanied by heavy rain, humid air across the northeast through the day. It does ease away, and from Friday, although remaining unsettled at times, it will feel colder and fresher into this weekend. We can see the low pressure and associated front that will be nudging into our part of the world through the day tomorrow. And there's very closely packed isobars, indicative of some rather strong winds, which could cause a few problems tomorrow morning in the rush hour, particularly on the region's higher routes and for high-sided vehicles, and accompanying that heavy rain during the day. Back to this evening's details. It's clear at first, but cloud will be building before tomorrow morning. Winds pep up before dawn, bits and pieces of showery rain for Northumberland. But for many of us, largely dry conditions before tomorrow. We tend to avoid a frost. The air that's moving in is rather humid, as I mentioned before, over the next 24 hours. It will be very unsettled as we approach dawn with those strong winds picking up. The sun is up tomorrow at 6:28, setting at 2 minutes past 6 tomorrow evening. Particularly windy in the rush hour tomorrow morning. If you're travelling, take care. We'll gradually see that rain beginning to move in as well, certainly middle part of the morning and towards lunchtime. Heavy spells of rain through the afternoon. It all makes for some nice, nasty driving conditions if you factor in that wind as well. So take care if you have to travel. The air is very humid, so 14, 15 degrees, but fresher and rather cloudy over the coming days with a bit of brightness on Sunday. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors ITV Tyne weather.
Thank you, Joe. The national news is next.
And I'll be back at 10:30. Have a lovely evening till then. Take care.
Bye-bye.